Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are watching us from. You're welcome to our first edition of Your Opinion. But for this first edition, we'll be talking on what we title the carcass in church. And for this, we have a special guest on here today that will be talking on this topic. You are welcome to this program.
Okay, good day, everyone. Um, Morning, afternoon, night, wherever you're watching us from, or whatever time you're watching us. My name is Nii, and we'll be talking on the topic Magnus
Okay,
just said.
okay. It's nice having you here, Mr. Nee.
Yeah.
So, just as I said earlier, we'll be talking on what we title the cancers. So, cancers, especially in church, cancers in church. What is your belief? Or let me ask, what is your thought about that statement when you hear cancers in church?
Okay, so I think CACOS is like a group of people with the same, interests. So CACOS in church will just be, people that have common interests in the church. So it could be, um, and we have, let me call it, we have the voluntary one of the church and the one that the members form by themselves. So you get like the voluntary ones, we have like the ushering department, the choir, the evangelism, people that have such minds, you get, they join this unit, you understand. But there's now some others that is more like some people, at the end of the church, you can just gather somewhere because they come for reasons best known to them. Maybe networking, maybe socializing, maybe getting to know the opposite gender and stuff. So they also have their own caucus. It is not recognized by the church, some of those caucus that they have, but it's
Okay.
also there.
Moving on, maybe I should just say it this way. While you were explaining earlier, you make mention about a group of set of people in the church, like the choir, the ushering department. But do you know in choir, or let me say in ushering department, do you know we have caucuses among them?
Exactly.
People who we want to, they were only interested in doing something when they know this person is their friend, perhaps maybe because that person is their caucus.
Yeah.
What you people are supposed to do
As
as
a
a
group.
teamwork to,
Yes.
making sure that God is glorified. What do you have to say to those kind of people?
So at the end of the day, yeah, what you said is very correct. Even inside the carcass, there's a carcass at the end of the day. So you get, because people, we are, there's there's a saying that says we are social animals at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And regardless of, and people don't have the same spiritual standing. So you get like the same understanding of the Bible and, the work of Christ. So we are all on our own level. So you get, and people tend to operate on their level. So some people will prefer that, oh, because I joined this unit because of this person. When this person says something, I'm in support of this person. So you understand those kind of things. So I think that is why stuff like that is going to happen.
Okay, okay, moving on. Thank you for that. And I hope you guys are following. So the next one, I think I remember vividly one of my church I attend. Sometimes, I got to this church early enough, and I discovered that there was a particular seat in the church that has been kept for a particular set of people,
People.
even despite that they are not coming early. They are used to it that even in church, they will tell you that these are these people that sit in this place. We are not talking about the ministers now that we know that, okay, the pastors and the ministers have their own seat. But I'm talking about some people in the church, they have a special seat. Do you think something like that is healthy for the church?
At the end of the day, is not, but it's what it is at the end of the day. You get, like, so for example, most churches they always keep maybe extra seats for the deacon, deaconess, people of authority in the church, and that is understandable. And even as members, that thing have happened to me before. I went to the church on a Thursday service, and the usher even told me go and sit there, only for me to go and sit there. The person sitting close say, I've kept the seat for my friend. You understand? I had to leave the seat and tell the usher, it has been taken. So these things are like part of everyday church activity. But the problem that I now have with it is that some certain churches, because of the financial status of one or two or three of their
That's
members,
that's
they tend to give them that honor. And it's not as if they shouldn't, but you don't rub it on the face of other members and make it look very obvious. Because at the end of the day, some of these very wealthy people in church, they want to be recognized publicly. And sometimes the church, in order to suit their ego, tend to comply. But I think there are certain churches that they don't really,
yeah.
care about. Churches coming up these days
You
don't
know,
really care about these things like
then I will
before.
still have to say this on here now for people, like-minded people who have experienced something like this. I've noticed that in some of these churches, sometimes even when it's time for them to have a children a kind of program, you see that they involve their circle. I want to use that word
Mhm,
circle. They
mhm.
involve their own children more in the activities rather than ordinary member. And I keep asking, like, why do you people do this to make it known or to make it show that this person does not belong to your campus? So that's why you have to even show that. Do you think all of this? Do you think is encouraging?
It's not really encouraging. It's not really encouraging, but I would say it's what is happening is the reality at the end of the day. People, especially when you are financially stable, people tend to always want to be on your good side. Sure, you get. And most times, the way the society is now, the children of those financial stable people, they want to show them forth and show that, oh yes, this so that to get favors
From their
from their
parents.
parents. And in church, even in the schools, let's not, it happens like that. So it's as I said, because of the spiritual standing of
Yeah.
members of the church, we are all on a journey
Yeah.
at the end of the day in the church. God, Christ calls us to be Christ-like,
Yes.
but everybody is on a different journey. So you get, and some people have ulterior motives to be in church at the end of the day.
I understand from one of your statement now. You said you understand something like that will always come up, especially in a place of church, like a place of church or in schools. But I would not want us to, compare that together
Yeah.
with what we are saying because school, if they are doing that in school, then so be it.
Yeah.
But if we call a place a church was supposed to be a place of rest, a
Mhm.
place of restitution, a place where we live in unity, in love. And by the time we now find something like this happening in the church, I don't think even spiritually, do you think is a good thing spiritually? Why we start, segregating people away from because they are not well to do or because they are not in your circle, they are not in your league. You start, separating them away from people that you can relate with in the church.
Yeah, even the people that do it know it's not good. It's not good because just as you said, the church is where we come as we are before our Father.
Mm-hmm.
God does not look at the example in the Bible where Jesus was talking about people that came to give their offering in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person that God recognized in that chapter was the woman, the poor woman that brought all she had. And all she had was not even up to what the other people that came before her brought. But God looked at her heart, you get, and said, oh no, this is the acceptable one. But at the end of the day, these things they are not really Christ-like. Because if we look at it, people come to church to know God.
Mm-hmm.
And some people that just recently entered the faith, seeing those kind of things, you get, it's discouraging to them. So for example, let's say a wealthy guy, he gives his life to Christ, and he comes to church, and he sees that, oh, in this church they tend to give honor to the rich people in the church because they
Mm-hmm.
are the ones that will foot most of the deals in the church. You understand? Somebody that just gave his life to Christ, two things can happen. Is it that you say, oh yes, this is how I want to be treated? He begins to show, oh,
All of
the
those commitments.
funds day. Before you know, the church will be putting up. And this is someone that his leg has not even been strong in Christ. So you understand. So how is he going to accept the message? How is he going to see the church
Hmm.
You understand? So that is one way of what can happen. The other way it can happen is how would it affect the spiritual life of
That
this
fellow.
wealthy guy? How is he going to come and see that, oh, okay, we are all the same before God? Me with all my millions and the person that is struggling, we are the same before God. There's nothing. What do you have? Stand, the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, and all they that dwell therein. There's nothing you have that God did not give you, and God cannot give to another person.
Yes.
But how would that person come into that realization that, okay, this is how this is supposed to be, when sometimes the church will overlook his spiritual standing and give him some positions because of some financial um, capacity he can bear in the church. And let us look at it at the other way around. A struggling brother came to the church, and as he's coming to the church, he's noticed that it's like this church, all the big people, they have their own special seats, they have special privileges. Then we, the rest, we have our own. How is he going to, grow in that kind of environment
Well,
where things are not
I
the same?
think this thing that you said made me to remember one of these. There was this day I was on X, then I saw a story from a particular man. He said he's using Camry, that is attending one of these big churches. I will not mention the name, on the island. So he said every Sunday once he get to church, they usually direct him to a particular place to go and park. So there was this days he was curious to know that he saw other vehicle going to this place. Why are they acting to always going to this place to park? Only for him to make that findings that day. Then he discovered that those people that was parking on this left hand side are those that was using all these very expensive car, like GLE, G wagon, all of these things.
Yeah.
So because of that, he said that day he said something lost in his heart, that so it felt so really bad that why would they be doing something like this?
Yeah.
He said he didn't say anything. That he got home, I never discussed anything with the wife, and he keep praying, trusting God. And the day that he bought a GLE, that I stopped going to the church. Something like that. Especially from people that were supposed to be called a child of God.
God, exactly.
There this kind of attitude we have. If we saw the unbelievers doing something like this, I think we are supposed to be the one correcting them,
Yes.
not other way around. It's not when we that claim to be already saved for so many years, we are now the one, having cancuses in church, building something that can, prompt issues in the church.
You said something that is very important. In the world or outside the church, they do stuff like that. Who
Yes.
does those things outside the church? Is it not the people that go to the church that will do it outside the
That's
church?
right.
So that is the problem. The people that go to church, most of them or some of them are among those people doing it outside the church. And sometimes these people are not really, forget they've been in church for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Sometimes these people, they are not really even grounded in the ways of Christ. So you understand? So they will bring those things to the church too. You understand? And that is where all those things come into play, where they know sometimes the church hand is tied, they cannot do it. Sometimes, don't be surprised, that the pastor may not even know about it.
Yes.
Because for like some very big churches, they have units and unit heads.
Mhm.
Sure, you get. And the pastor has a lot of responsibility to start be saying, oh, okay, all the people with the big cars should park this way, all the people with the small cars should park this way. You understand? The pastor may not or may know about it at the end of the day. So, it's this thing is, this thing boils down to, as Christians that we are, personally, do we even try to live the life of Christ? Personally, not anything concerning church. Because I believe if every Christian strives to live the life of Christ, it will show in the church. It's not about the pastor,
Even in our communities.
even in our community, because at the end of the day, look at Nigeria, for example. I believe in Nigeria we have more Christians than Muslims.
Thousands.
Even if the Christian and Muslims, the number was the same, if the Christians, if 80% of the Christians actually lived Christ-like lives, I think Nigeria will not be the way it is.
Exactly.
I don't think Nigeria will be the way it is. We have so many governors that are Christians, so many executives that are Christians.
I think this is going to be a topic for another day, because
Yeah.
sometimes there was a day I was talking to somebody and I said I think I understand prayer is very good, but I think sometimes it is now time we also need to concentrate on attitudes,
And
our character
character,
as a
yes.
believers. There are some believers, when you see them in the church, some of us claim to be like an angel. But if you go to our various houses, our working places, that is when you know the kind of person we are.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
like what you said, until we know that we ought to be perfect, we will ought to walk, ought to behave like Christ-like. That is when we can be better or even make our environment to be better. So because of our time, we will not see more than this. We know you all that are watching us have a lot of questions and a lot of contribution to contribute. Please feel free to go down to our comment section to drop your comment there. But don't forget to follow us, and God bless you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you for taking your time to watch our videos. Please, if you want to see more, please subscribe, like, share our videos with others. Thank you.